Hey, peace and blessings. I'm Jovhannah, the spiritual love coach, and I am feeling really amazing after tonight's yoga class. So I wanted to talk to you today about your relationships and if they are nourishing you. So this is day 3 in my spiritual love series. I'm doing 40 days of spiritual love right here on Facebook. It's really important first that we think about like what are relationships. A lot of times when we're talking about relationships in our social circles, we tend to think only of our romantic relationships, leaving out, relationships with family, with coworkers, and especially our relationship with ourselves. And often we settle when it comes to our connections or our relationships with other people. And so one of the tips that I wanted to share is that your relationships really should nourish your life. And I know myself, like I've had like half friendships. I've been in situationships, and have been around people who were toxic or draining to me. Hey, Deborah, thank you for joining me. And so, especially because we are in the fall season, and this is a time where, we naturally kind of go inward, and it's a great time to release and start letting go of the things that really are not serving you, that aren't filling you. And sometimes there's, people who will say, well, if you have to cut everybody off, then you're the problem, or relationships don't last because we're always cutting people off. And I do understand both aspects of that, but the important thing is to make sure that you are pruning away the relationships that are dead. Like why do these things exist if it's not adding to your life? If it's taking away from your life, then you really want to consider like, why are you keeping this person around? And if we think about it, right, like let's say we have some food and the food gets bad. What do? You throw it out. We don't hold on to old, rotten, moldy food, but when it comes to our relationships with people, that's kind of the expectation. Oh, well, that's family, so you've got to be around them. Or, oh, well, you've known them since you were 12 years old. That's your best friend. You can't let them go. And it's the same concept. We have to really start looking at our relationships from a different perspective, if we are to truly grow. And sometimes when you do cut away that relationship, that gives that person space to maybe evaluate themselves and then decide like, wow, like I wasn't really showing up fully, as a friend or fully as a partner. And maybe they'll do some growth on their end, and then you two can come back together in a better partnership. But that's why it's really important to evaluate your relationships and determine like what's important to you in a relationship when it comes to yourself, when it comes to your family, when it comes to the type of friendships that you want to have. If you are married or, in a relationship, what do you want your relationship to become if it's not fulfilling you right now? And as we grow and we learn things and we age and we gain new experiences, what we think evolves. What we need in a friendship is going to evolve. It's going to be different, from when you were 12 years old to now that you're in your 30s. What you need from a partner is going to be different if you have taken on, different roles within your career than it was before, when maybe you didn't have as much responsibility. So relationships grow. And if they are not growing, then they're in the process of dying. So we have to keep these things in mind when, we're looking at our relationships. And normally when we do talk about relationships, we always tend to think of, intimate relationships, romantic relationships, those type of partnerships. And one of the reasons why is because we all desire to be loved. Love is it's part of us. We were all created in love, and that is something that we all want. We all want to be loved and to be accepted by others, and that's a beautiful thing, but it also first starts within ourselves. So when you consider if your relationships are nourishing you, I always tell my clients, start with yourself. What do you need from yourself? And the things that you want to see in your other relationships, make sure those are the things that you're giving to you. And oftentimes we show up for others. We show up for our family. We show up for our friends. We show up for our loved ones. And sometimes we forget to show up for ourselves. So it's really important that we are filling our cup so that we can serve from our overflow, so that we are not depleted because, we gave all our time, all of our attention, all of our energy, all of our resources to someone else who maybe isn't in the position to give back. So you want to make sure that you're always taking care of yourself, because when you do that, you can look at your relationships from a more objective standpoint, from a place of non-attachment, and see clearly, like, okay, is this person really adding to my life? How is this connection making me feel? Is it giving me life, or is it draining me? After I get off the phone with this person, like, what type of mindset am I in? Do I feel happy, or am I irritated and pissed off? Those are some of the things that you want to pay attention to. If you are going through something, you're having a hard time, and you call your best friend and they're never there, or maybe they just want to talk about whatever's going on in their life, pay attention to that too. Like, do you really have a safe space where you can go to be seen and to be heard? Because if not, then you might want to start making some shifts and changes so that you create that. And don't ever feel like you have to deal with someone, family or not. And a lot of times, and I will be talking about family relationships because the holidays are coming up. And as people start to, travel back home for holidays and have to deal with family members that maybe they are uncomfortable around, or are toxic, or just don't have like the greatest family, so we'll talk about that too. But a lot of times, that is something that, well, you're forced to deal with toxic people because they are your family. And then we kind of wonder, like, why are we having issues showing up in our romantic relationships when we kind of have like a foundation that is seeded with toxicity or unhealthy relationship habits and patterns. One of the things too that we tend to forget is the things that we see as we are growing up from our family. That's where we are learning our own relationship behaviors. So taking some time to really look back and examine your own beliefs when it comes to love, when it comes to dating, marriage, relationships, all of that is really important, because you as an adult might be operating from beliefs that were, learned as a child. So really stepping back and seeing, okay, what do I need in a relationship? What does my relationship look like for me? Because maybe it's unconventional. Maybe your needs are a little bit different, and it's important that you know what those are, so that you have clarity going forward when you do start to, cultivate relationships with other people. So that was it for today. And I wanted to share, I do have a guided meditation and some affirmation cards that you are able to download for free on my website. The link is in the comment box, and that's just to add a little bit more love and healing, peaceful energy into your life. It's something that we all need. Who doesn't need more love? And make sure that you join me back here for another episode of 40 Days of Spiritual Love with the Spiritual Love Coach. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below and I will come back and address them. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again tomorrow. Peace.